All right. Hi, Cara. How are
Hi,
you?
I am sitting outside. I'm doing really well. I love
Nice.
it out here.
So I thought just because we haven't done one of these, we missed a couple weeks because you and I have been trying to sort our lives out with the pandemic and both being business owners that are affected by it.
I'm
We had
trying to
some
be
other
the jack
priorities.
of all trades right now.
Yeah. So I thought perhaps we could just do a brief introduction because I know we have some people popping on that don't know us. So did you want to start? Who are you?
Oh my God. Well, my name is Cara, and Jen has categorized me as a psychic medium, and I'm open to it. Um, I would say that I'm a sober person, and I've been clean and sober for almost 12 years. You would not think it if you saw some of our previous videos, but I really am. And yeah, I love yoga. Yoga is my favorite thing in the world. And that's how I met Jen. Jen is my favorite yoga teacher, even though I have many of you out there that are yoga teachers that I love so much. Maybe Jen will teach me to be a teacher. Who knows? I have to try to twist her arm, maybe. Anyways, and I guess you can say, at a crossroads in my life today because I am unsure of what to do next. I'm very lucky. I have a business, a travel business, and I've been cleaning and things like that, trying to keep, ends meet going. But as a travel business and COVID doesn't really go together really well. So I'm just trying to navigate that, which is challenging. Most of my clients are amazing. I did have a few that were not too happy, but I can understand where they're coming from. I'm not taking it personally. I do usually at first, but then I move on. I'm human.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. What else can I add? I love dogs and cats and animals, hiking. I love long walks on the beach, but with lots of sunblock because I'm Irish. Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Jen, tell us about you.
Well, I mean, first of all, I just have to say I'm happy that you clarified that you're human because I feel like these days we need to clarify that part of
Oh
things,
my God, human. Yes.
at least partially. Um,
Yeah.
I'm Jen. I would say, I'm really liking the title of consciousness freedom fighter these days. That's what I'm going to go with
Yours
today.
is so much better than mine.
Oh, it's just because it's been sitting with me for a long time. Um, yeah, you could say I'm a yoga teacher. That's one of the things I do, but my primary concern is really about um, supporting people and finding their true mission, remembering their true mission as to why they came to the earth. And that's why I created the Soul Institute, where we normally run yoga retreats, but they've been shut down for the summer anyway. And so I too am doing cleaning primarily almost every day, all
Every day.
day. Yeah, it's a humbling experience for
Uh,
sure. But there's a lot of spiritual teachings out there about doing work that I would say culturally, at least in the West, we view as less important or less valuable work. A, because it makes you humble, but B, because it also gives you this opportunity. I don't know if you find this when you're cleaning, Cara, but to kind of get into a meditative state, right? Because if you don't have to really think too hard about what you're doing, your body is moving, so you're naturally moving energy, and then all of a sudden things can start to align in terms of your thoughts and other things that come up. So most of my posts and videos come after cleaning, not after
mm-hmm.
meditating.
Yes.
And today's a big day. Yesterday was a big day, 7/7. I think there was a lot of energy circling around. And you and I just talked briefly before we popped on here about how chaotic it's been the last week or so. How much energy and emotion has been moving not only through us but through the people that we work with and that we support in our families and friends.
Yeah.
And I thought that might be a good place for us to start is, what are some of the themes that you've been seeing, whether in your own emotions or with the people that you've been talking to in the last week?
I find that it's just like, the energy that I'm picking up from other people that it could be me even, is just like anxiety.
Mhm.
Anxiety because, there's a lot of fear of the unknown about like what's going to happen next. Like, what are we going to do with our jobs? Business owners like us, like we start to panic.
Mhm.
Like the energy is really, really challenging. Um, but I've also been doing things to challenge that, which would be like the yoga dancing that I do on my own. I swear to God, my dogs just think like, what the hell is wrong with this person, right? But I find that, like you said, like with the cleaning, with anything that's anything physical, um, for me, that's how I can get into meditation. I've got a busy, busy, busy head.
Mhm.
So for me to just like, sit there and not chant is very hard. Chanting's easier because at least I'm doing something else besides just sitting here like this.
Mhm.
Anyways, I'm going off topic, but that's what I do often. So you just have to bring me back sometimes. But the energy is very, very tense. It's very, very there. And I think that really it is more of their own, like it would be my own fear, for example, if I'm reacting badly towards others, because I'm just basically, I guess what you can say is I'm basically pissed off with my situation, and I'm spewing it out on other people. And we're human beings, and I'm human, and that's what we do. Like I like go from 0 to 100 a lot of times. I have to literally pause before I send an email or a text or like anything, because I'll just like, that's why live shows worry me a little, because I just never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So anyways, yeah, so it's pretty intense. It's very, very challenging. I prefer being at home
Mhm.
than going anywhere else. Actually, I think your place is lovely, so I'll take that back. It was really interesting. I got told off by like, I think it was one more than one squirrel, like literally from hell, like this squirrel. Anyways, um, yeah, I don't know. What's your take on it?
I would say the same. There's a lot of anxiety and fear is an emotion and energy that I'm feeling just about everywhere that I go. I've been given the image of kind of the eye of the storm. When you're looking at a hurricane, if you can imagine it like from above the earth, if you were seeing a hurricane. So if you're in the center of the storm, it's like it's calm, but you can feel the energy of everything that you've already gone through on this side of the storm, and you can feel the energy of what's starting to build as you move towards the other side of the storm. And
Mm-hmm.
the problem I think for me is that, when we're in the storm, we can't see the fact that there's actually something beyond the storm cloud. So there's this darkness and this fog, and everything is chaotic, and there's a lot of excess wind energy, and all this stuff is moving around. But it feels like there's no way out. It feels like it's actually unlimited storm, and we're never going to come out of it. And that generates a ton of fear, right? Because it brings in a lot of those existential questions of, am I going to survive this? Am I going to continue
It's
to
the
live?
unknown.
The unknown, right? Like, is a cow going to come up and hit me next? Is it going to be a car? Like, who knows what's
A
happening?
giant friggin' bug around
Yeah,
me thinks my
yeah,
hair is a nest.
a lot of bugs. And for me, my guides have been showing that like kind of broader perspective of, we've gone through a storm. We had a little rest period, which I thought was going to be longer than what we've gotten so far. And we're about to step in to the other side of the storm. And
Yeah.
sometimes that second side of the storm feels a lot more intense. And you're tired because you already survived the first part. And so there's part of you that's
It
like,
sounds like my life, girl.
I
Really,
know, that's
honestly, it totally my life. Like it's just been chaos after chaos after chaos. But guess what? That's life. We're all in it. This chaotic shit show that we
Yeah.
call planet Earth.
But the question is like, is that actually our reality, or is that some sort of illusion? Is the chaos actually happening, or is it an illusion? This is one of my questions that I sit with all the time. Like, there's all of these spiritual teachers that say you create your reality with your thoughts. So has the human race, have we all messed up and gone so negative that we've created this entirely awful, chaotic situation around the planet? Is that possible? Can humans be that negative?
You're blowing my fucking mind right now. Okay. Yeah, I think that we can totally manifest things into reality because it's happened for me. But like, I do believe that we are in charge of our own perception. Like we can change our perception on what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I look up on my life and all the negativity and the addiction and the alcoholism and the trauma, I look at all and I think like, oh, well, fuck, poor me. Oh my God, I'm such a loser. I came from, like, I'm screwed. If I just had that perspective, I would be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I really think it's like, like I say, like I've always said, it's starting with you, changing yourself, and then your influence upon other people, because we're a collective. This is a collective consciousness. This isn't, you know, you, we're all separate. That's the illusion,
Yeah.
right?
But
The
then,
chaos is there. It's real. But is it chaos, or is it like, like the cup that's half full or half empty? I don't know.
I mean, there's part of me,
This is why I go crazy, right?
right. I know we're gonna show everybody our crazy thoughts tonight. That's the plan. Because here's why.
Oh no.
I have been told, and I mean, sometimes I hate my guides. I really do, because I don't want to be put in an uncomfortable position. I don't like to talk publicly about some of the things that I see. But, I think it's important more now than ever that we put those things out there, because there's other people who are feeling and thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way for us to be able to connect in the ways that we did before. And so this we'll say illusion, because I truly believe this is an illusion, this illusion of isolation, that we're the only crazy one out there, is the hugest lie. And I think, in my humble opinion, that it is a strategic agenda of some of the nefarious dark forces that exist to prevent the people of love, the people of light, all the good people who exist in humanity, which in my opinion is 99.5% of the human population, just to be clear, and it doesn't matter what label you fall under. But I truly believe that we want to do good things, and that there is a very real possibility that there's energies that work against us. And the image that I've been given a few times in the last 2 weeks and working with different clients is, imagine yourself covered in chains. Like you've got all these chains wrapped around you, and it feels like there's all of these restrictions, right? Of like, I can't move, I can't exercise my will, I can't do anything I want. But what if the illusion is these chains, these restrictions, and we're fighting them, like we're seeing that play out around the world, is that we're trying to break the chains by resisting. But what if all we had to do was stand up and drop them?
That's it. It's like drop the rock. It's like just let it go.
Yeah.
Let go of the illusion. And, because the truth is that, yeah, the world is a shitty place, but the world is also a really beautiful place. So where are you going to sit? Where are you going to sit? I honestly lived in hell, and I do not want to go back there. It's not fun, people. Like, it's not. So, and yeah, it's just your perception. Like, I look at the experience I gained as a way of helping others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it.
Which
And
I think most people do.
yeah,
As you evolve and
not
learn.
unique to that. I wish I was like so special that it was just me, but no, it's not.
You
We
are.
all have these gifts. we all have these gifts
Yeah.
that were brought here for to share with the world. And you know what? Mine is the gift of the gab. I have a big mouth. Like, it's just the way that it is. And I'm hoping that what I say helps others. And my goal before I even speak is to ask my higher power, whatever you want to call it, the universe, the aliens, whatever, guys, whatever you choose,
Mm-hmm.
to guide my thoughts, my words, my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am guided from that force, which is, you know, you, me, the grass, the trees, the planets, if I try to stay connected to that, then, you know, I've maintained sobriety because of that. But
Mm-hmm.
also I've gained relationships, and friendships, and deep friendships like you, and like, you know, so many people that I honestly, I never, like, I wasn't capable of doing that. I loved my friends from the past, but I wasn't capable of seeing past my own problems and myself
Mm-hmm.
and my drug addiction and alcoholism and whatever. So that's the lesson that I got so far. I'm 40 now. So far up until now, that's the lesson that I'm getting, is that, you know what? Like, yes, the world is a fucking shitty place. So why don't you make it a better place? Like where you're at, right?
Well, even
Because
I think sometimes, like, I totally agree with you 100% on that. But I think sometimes the notion of making the world a better place, even if it's just in your small community, still feels like a really huge task to undertake. But I think there's the potential for us to just exist in the world, you know, in the moments where we have the energy to do so, but to exist in the world and imagine it exactly as we want it to be. Like, there's these moments where you're at home or you're with a friend where there's no restrictions in that moment. There's no restrictions in that moment, right? And so we don't need to be thinking about them. We don't need to be fueling them. But even when we're placed, you know, when we're going out into the world right now, you know, there's a lot of physical restrictions that we're seeing that are growing, which we'll talk about later. But, you know, you can also go into those spaces and you can either feed your energy into that. You can take on the fear and the resistance and let that energy flow through your body. Or you can walk into that space and say, I see it. I'm aware that this is maybe part of the reality that I'm sharing right now, but it's not going to come into my body. It's not going to come
that's
into my
right.
field.
You have to protect yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to go in confident in who I am and the decisions that I've made for me and my family. And I'm going to go in with love, regardless of what energy might be.
Believe it or not, that's a plane.
Oh, I'm not surprised. It's
I
about
remember
time.
back in the day, I used to think it was cops.
Yeah, I know.
Constantly.
I'm always like, is that the low helicopter? What are they doing? What are they doing? I mean,
Like,
I was
oh my
literally yelling
God.
at clouds yesterday. My daughters were like, Mom, why do you keep telling the clouds that you don't consent? And I was like, because there's loopholes in these energy fields.
Oh, you're so funny. Yeah, well, you know what? Tell them to stop coming over my house.
Yeah,
It still gives me I have PTSD from that, man. I know it.
yeah.
I'm like,
Now it's
anyway,
over my house.
yeah, now it is.
It's that
That's a
float plane,
squirrel
I think,
now.
because it normally comes by about this time.
That's a
Um,
squirrel. Literally just going like, fuck you in squirrel language. Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm trying to make friends with the squirrels, to be quite honest. You
I do
know,
too, but they don't like me. I'm too loud for them. Like I scare them, right?
there's this one teaching, I won't say by who, but some of my close friends will know who this teaching comes from, that squirrels are believed to be reincarnated teachers who didn't fulfill their missions in previous lives. And so, you
Then it
know,
would make sense why I get yelled at by all the teachers because I am hard to teach.
yeah. I mean, I like to have a discussion with them of like, well, what part of the mission didn't you live up to, and what kind of message are you telling me right now? And then I'm like, so what is it like to be a squirrel?
Oh my God. I do the same thing and I talk to the spiders and they used to scare the shit out of me. Now I put them outside. It's like,
Yeah, I
you
literally
know what?
couldn't.
I see myself from the perspective of the spider. Now, I don't know if it's because of my mediumship or whatever it is, or if it really is just like residual shit from my past in my brain that exploded, that made
Mm-hmm.
me trip out. But I literally do see myself, like imagine myself from the perspective of the animal.
Yeah. Yep. With you on that one.
Right? But that's what
I,
I do. I've been doing that my whole life.
oh yeah, me too. I had an
Yeah.
aunt stay in the house, and I was like, I should kill you. I know I should kill you. I know that's what the world wants me to do. The world
Yeah.
wants me to kill you because if you get into my food and like there's this whole cycle,
It
and
can like really start causing problems.
yeah, and I looked at the ant and I said, you know what? There's been enough people that have been killed in the last few weeks, and
You let them go.
there's been enough violence. I don't have the heart to contribute to that today.
Be
Like
careful.
gathered them up.
I let a black fly go, and the
Yeah.
fucker came back and bit me. So you know what? Take the lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like if you save the snake, if you save the even the twisted human being. I've worked with a lot of people that are just like me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a professional. I'm a travel agent and a cleaner and other things, but definitely not a therapist, but
Yeah.
just have experience in recovery. And I can tell you that I totally forgot about what I was just about to say because I'm also in recovery and that happens sometimes.
Well, you were talking about the human snakes and how.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so like the humans, right? Like think about a human, an addict, right? We're like crazy, like really crazy. I mean, to the point where we'll make decisions that are like, detrimental to people and us and not even care and not even realize. Like it sounds crazy. You're like, why is that person doing that? And I categorize them the snake, they're gonna bite you, they're gonna try to maybe, size you up in bed and eat you. Did you hear about that one snake? What?
Oh,
Anyways, okay, like that's why I'm not getting a snake. I wanted one until I heard that story. So anyways, that's what it's like with some of the girls I sponsor. They're the snake, like trying to size me up, see if they can eat me, if they can, and vice versa, right? And the reality is that those same snakes, they are like, I should say not snakes. Let's say they turn into butterflies from snakes. They're totally not the same. It's like completely different.
yeah.
So I believe in the in miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in the fact that, if we just use our experience, whatever that is, or our talents to help other people and choose it even as a career, as a job,
Mm-hmm.
right? That all of us will be, that I don't know, it would be a better place. I wish I could wave a wand, but, stop doing the job that you hate is my message.
Mm-hmm.
I love just saying like, fuck off. I'm not doing this. Like, it's wonderful. Like, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's empowering. And I think that, like, what were you going to say about the masks too?
Um, well, I feel like we have to talk about the masks because
Yeah,
they're
I
a
hate
big
them.
issue.
Okay, I don't like them.
Well,
Uh,
and that Simcoe Muskoka has made them mandatory
I
now
know.
for all indoor spaces as of Monday. So there's a lot of debates, we'll say. Lots of people who are pro-mask, and there's lots of people who are against masks. Now, I do want to clarify on behalf of the people who are against masks that those individuals are not against the proper use of masks. Say, for example, if you're going into a hospital and you're sick or you're around vulnerable people, most individuals, not all, most who are against masks do have the common sense that they would perhaps don a mask in that instance. But the question I think becomes around the masks. I mean, there's a few questions I think that people are raising. And one is why now? On the day that we announce no new cases is the day that we announce mandatory masks. Why?
Yeah, that's weird. Their timing is really shit. Like,
Yeah.
really. Honestly, is it on purpose? Just to mess with us? I don't know. Like, I feel like the mask makes, like, I don't want to smell my own breath for like 2 hours while I'm shopping. I really don't. My
Well, they
husband
do
has to do
that.
that. So, yeah. So on that note, but then also you can't breathe in them. Like it's like, I can't even put a helmet on my head. Like I'm a danger zone. I will ride my bike without a helmet, like nothing, because I don't like the mask.
Mhm.
But and people who have PTSD from it,
Yes.
or like, you know what I'm saying? They don't want their mouths covered. I mean,
Well,
there's a lot of reasons. It's like, you know what? Like
yeah.
if you're gonna go into a store and the government is saying that you have to wear a mask, wear the fucking mask or don't go to the store. Like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like choose your battles,
Well, and
kind of
there's a
it.
couple things that I want to, I think, dig into a little bit there. And one of them is the PTSD, because I think that is a very valid thing that we need to bring up, because it's not laid out clearly. And I think, for people who have not been victims of sexual or domestic abuse, where they have been held down at the mouth or the neck, it is a huge trigger. Yeah,
It is like massive trigger.
huge
Yeah.
trigger for individuals around that, and a lot of them can't even articulate that that's what it is, but it results in a panic attack, and there may not be medical documentation to suggest that covering of the mouth is going to cause that trigger, because outside of the abuse they probably haven't been exposed to that kind of situation again, right? And so it's like it's a trigger that is coming up in the moment when they're meeting these stores. Now, I do also agree with you in the sense that from a legal standpoint, businesses do have the right to refuse service. And so it is, if a business mandates that that's what they require, then that's up to that business, in my perspective, to make that decision. What we're seeing now, though, is that the local government has made that decision for the businesses. And so the businesses will be fined, 1,000 up to 10,000. And if you're a
Oh,
corporation, up to 10 million, which is concerning, legally being a corporation with one employee.
yeah. I have no
Hasn't
employees.
made, hasn't even made a million in my lifetime, cumulative probably. So
I
there's a
think that
lot
our
of
show is going to make us millions.
yeah,
It will.
or it will, or we'll get fined.
It might be millions in somebody's heart in one person.
So I mean, I can appreciate both sides, because I can understand the individuals who are saying, we all need to wear a mask to protect other people. And I can understand where there's a fear generated from that, in terms of this belief that everyone has the potential to have the virus and not know it. But I also believe that the research has been changing and evolving drastically. And the research that I've seen, and maybe it's wrong, like that's definitely a possibility, but a lot of the research has been suggesting that if you're not showing symptoms, it's very unlikely that you would be transmitting the virus. So if that's the case, why would we be reducing the oxygen levels of all of our healthy
When it's
population?
500,000 degrees outside.
Exactly, during a heat wave, um,
Oh,
when we are also expecting a potential second wave, where we need people's immune systems to be as high as possible going into that second wave.
right.
So I question the research, and I am concerned that there hasn't been an opportunity for the public, for some of the researchers who are maybe showing conflicting results, to discuss it in an open forum. I mean, I thought our government was supposed to be for the people and to work for the people. I mean, that was what I was raised on. That was my belief system growing
Yeah.
up. And it doesn't feel that way right now, because there's so many voices that aren't being heard, right? And historically, we've seen how that goes, and hasn't always been positive. And so, in my opinion, I mean, I have a lot of concerns about people who have PTSD, people who have asthma, people who have hearing disabilities, they need to see mouths. Children who are trying to learn the language. And then my other big concern is, we're putting in these bylaws. When do they end? Because if we're doing this to protect our vulnerable sector of our community, which is righteous and honorable in all regards, but then what about cancer patients? What about anybody else who has any immune compromising disease, illness, etc.? I mean, does this mean that humanity needs to be masked from here on out anytime we're interacting with another human being? And then, and then what does that say? Like, I mean, to be quite honest, when I heard, I knew it was coming. I wasn't surprised, but I sat there and cried for a good couple hours because all that was running through my head was my kids are going to grow up in a masked society. They're going to go to
It's weird too, putting a mask on, going on into a store. Like, I feel like I'm about to like fucking rob the place. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? I feel shady when I go in like that. It is. Yeah. It's like a rewiring of it's a totally different reality.
And there is actually, funnily enough, there is a Canadian law, and if anybody wants to know it, they can message me because I'm not a lawyer, but
you could be. Just so you know, you could be a lawyer. I could have used you.
There is apparently some act in the Canadian legislation that you cannot wear a mask if you are going to commit a crime or you're going to protest, that you should be wearing a mask so that they can see you. So, I mean, isn't that ironic? Isn't that a little bit hypocritical of things?
Could adjust that maybe.
Not that I'm, just a disclaimer, I'm not questioning my government. I'm not doing that. I'm questioning the thought forms that are running through my own personal mind at this point in time. But I mean, for me, energetically, we know that as humans, we connect by exchanging energy. So anytime we are physically blocking that energetic exchange, we are not only limiting the connection that we have with a human being, but we're limiting the ability, in my opinion, for us to share energy as well. And we know that people who are, say, working through an ascension path and they are vibrating at a different frequency than someone else. So say they've done a lot of work like you, Cara, and they've done a lot of healing. And so they're able to carry this frequency that when they meet someone who hasn't yet done that work, it's like, it's contagious, right? I'm just going to flip it on us.
Okay.
Healing energy is equally as contagious. So if I am someone who is in the light and I hold a high vibration and I'm loud in that vibration, not necessarily in my voice, but the two could coincide.
I'm both, yeah.
And I go into the grocery store and I exude confidence and calm and peace and a beautiful world where there is no illness, other people can contract. They can contract it. But it's harder it's not impossible, but it is definitely more challenging to share that when there is some kind of external covering, particularly in the face.
You can use your eyes though. I use my eyes and, you could still, it's a challenge, a new challenge, but I believe I can pass my energy to you from here.
Absolutely. I do agree with you on that. I'm
giving you hugs and I'm giving you a little tickle right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm
not tickling you, but
it doesn't only exude from your mouth, to be clear. So I'm not making the statement that if you're wearing a face mask, you can't share energy. You totally
a smile is beautiful. I think smiles are the most important. And I don't care what your teeth necessarily, fuck it. Who cares? It's your smile. It's that genuine laugh that I try to make sure I, my awkward laugh, my inappropriate laugh, all my laughing is because it releases energy for me. And it's a healthier way of releasing energy than going out and driving a stolen car, or not that I ever did that, but you know what I'm saying? Doing crazy shit. So, I can tell you that, the energy that I don't even need to be next to you to know that you so much. You know what I mean?
but I also consciously work at that. And I've
I do too.
consciously done that when I've gone out in public the last few months. And I've been working to teach others to do the same thing because I think it's important.
Energetic hugs. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so nice.
However, I will also say this: I will not wear a mask unless it is medically deemed
Say that.
necessary for me to wear a mask. So I'm fully prepared. I fully accept the consequences of that, meaning that I fully honor every business to say that I'm not welcome in there. I honor that. That's fine. Yeah. I will do what I need to do, because I feel very strongly from what I've seen on the other side around these energies, these, we'll say, nefarious energies that are working on a larger scale. And I will not go into detail on them in this discussion because it's difficult to explain without sounding crazy. But I will not give my free will over to any energy that is not in the highest interest of me, of my children, or of anybody else on this planet. I will clarify, though, that if I were sick, if I had symptoms, and if I needed to, it was necessary for me to interact with someone, or I needed to go into a healthcare setting, I absolutely would.
Of course.
I absolutely would. And I also want to clarify that I'm not making this stance out of convenience. This is the last thing in the world that I want to say right now. This is the last thing that I want to have to stand up on. It has been incredibly challenging the last couple weeks to have to try and get my business back up and running and go into these environments and have to honor what my soul is asking me, quite frankly, demanding me to do, knowing that it is not supported, knowing that there's a lot of people who will be angry with me, that I will be ostracized and my kids might be ostracized. It has taken a lot of courage that I didn't even know I had.
Oh, and you have so much courage.
You know, today I have potentially turned down some opportunities because of it, because I feel so strongly about this. But I also just want to be super clear that this doesn't mean that I don't care about anyone who has gotten sick or who has died, and that I don't take the virus seriously. I absolutely do. But I also believe that, you know, this is more than just fighting for our health and our lives. I truly believe we are fighting for our souls. And so, you know, I'm in a unique position where perhaps I have different information. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. You know, at the end of the day, maybe it's all wrong and this wasn't worth my time and my effort to do. But I've gotten this far in my life to know that I need to honor what I feel in my heart. And if it feels this strongly, then I also must be willing to accept the consequences of that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not asking anybody else to join me in that belief or stance. And I'm not asking anybody to cause any harm or bullying, regardless of what side they take on it. And this is why I love talking to you, Cara, because we can disagree.
Because I'm going to wear the mask.
You're going to wear the mask. And I fully support you in that. I don't judge you for wearing the mask.
I don't want to die. Cara. Okay, it sounds so selfish. But like,
you know, and to be quite frank, that might change for me. That might change for me if, you know, a mutated version comes out and the mortality rate increases. And, you know, if new information suggests otherwise, I might change my mind. And I'm okay.
And that's the thing, right? Like, it's a constantly changing situation. And for me, I just want to ensure that, you know, like, because I'm part of like a, you know, I've already told people that I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's a lot of old people. Like, I mean, I'm young there. Okay. So, you know, like, we're not all together right now and stuff, but like, if I had to like meet up with them again, or there was something and we had to wear masks, I would do it just for protection for them, or just to make them feel comfortable with being there with me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I could be that person that is like probably carrying it, especially considering my job as a travel agent and other things, you know what I mean? And I talk to people all the time and like, la, 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 my germs everywhere. So I do them a favor. I'll put the mask on. Maybe I'll draw a little smiley face on it.
I love that. I think if you are going to wear the mask, I think you should definitely make it fun.
Make it fun.
I mean, I have said if I absolutely had to wear it, I would get one of those full head costume masks. That's like
I have a werewolf one.
Okay, perfect.
I have a werewolf one. I look so disgusting in this thing. Oh my God. But you know what? You won't get the virus because it's a mask.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. The challenge is there's so much science.
I keep touching my face too. I'm always like touching my face and like, and it's always when you're in a store or like somewhere else, you never cough at home ever, ever.
Yeah,
and then you go, as soon as you get into the store, you're like, oh, your water starts to choke you and you're like coughing everywhere. You're not wearing a mask. People are fucking staring at you. You're like, okay, I guess I'm out of here now.
Yeah.
That's why I just bring the mask, because the last time I went shopping, I did not wear a mask. Mind you, I stay away from everybody like normally, like before all of this stuff happened. I'm a recluse. So,
well, and that's the thing is like we can make these choices and still be respectful of other people's
people. Yeah.
You know? Like I'm not gonna go into a store without a mask and be like rub my hands on everybody.
Lick their coffee cup.
You know, I'm not doing that. I'm moving out of the way for people. I'm apologizing if I don't see the arrows and I go.
I never see the arrows. I never even see like the floor on a normal day.
I don't see the arrows until someone's coming at me, and then I'm like oh, I'm sorry.
Like, what the freaking hell are you doing? Don't
unless you meet someone else who's actually going in the wrong direction and you're going in the right direction.
No, I miss the gym. I'll be honest with you. I do miss the gym. Like working out at home is kind of boring. It really is.
And I mean,
and nobody's pushing you. Like you'd be like, oh, get down lower, girl, get down lower. Nobody's doing that.
This is the other question I have is like, if we're really concerned about other people's health, why aren't we promoting these other methods to boost immunity? Like we're focusing on the sickness, which is fine. Like there is a place for medicine. I'm not denying that. But you know, there is value in being out in the sun and exercise.
Oh my goodness. I pick up at least 4 shits a day. Not with my bare hands, but like my dogs and my bug, right? And you with your kids, like kids are loaded with germs. You're good. You're good. They made you immune to everything.
Well, they don't. But
but you know what I mean.
I mean, that definitely has been a philosophy of mine, probably my entire life, is that, you know, being exposed to germs isn't a bad thing. It's a positive thing, right? You know, even being a vegetarian, like I've been a vegetarian since I was 12, to the point that if I eat meat, I get sick and it's really painful. And over the years, I've relaxed my guidelines around don't use a fork that's also touched a piece of meat, because I'm like, you know what, it's probably in my best interest to have a little tiny bit of exposure here and there. I don't need to ingest it, but to the point where I'm not going to be keeled over on the floor if I happen to come into some contact with something that was contacting a piece of meat. You know what I mean? And
I ate a steak.
Viruses and everything
I couldn't help it. It's been 4.5 years or something like that. And I ate a steak. My body was like, please eat the steak. Because I was eating a lot of like bread and so I love bread and butter, like enough with some butter on it. And like I feel the best I've ever felt since I've introduced meat back. But I always thank the wee fella.
Yeah, I love it.
I know, aren't you proud of me? I'm like, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. But you're delicious, but I'm sorry. Thank you for sustaining me.
This is an important point again, though, right? Like I can be a vegetarian and you can eat meat, and that's okay. We don't all have to have the same beliefs and follow the same lifestyle.
No, we don't. Thank God for that. Because anybody that had tried to follow like some of the people I know's lifestyle or mine, they would have been like, you don't want to go in those footsteps.
No, I mean, I want to check out of my life half the time these days. So
It's
I'm
like,
not gonna
you know what? And that's the thing. Pain makes you want to get away, right? Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
human
and
beings are walking around all the time and we all have pain and it's all the time.
mm-hmm.
Whether it's because we've lost somebody or somebody was mean to us as a kid or we were bullied or whatever, right? Or if it was that mean person at the grocery store that like didn't smile back at you or whatever, whatever, right? It's like you just don't, the world is going to be the way that it is, and it's up to us to make the changes within ourselves in order to change the world. It starts with us.
It does. And I mean, this is another message that's been a theme for me this week, is that it's really important, I think, right now for people to sit back. And when I say people, I mean me too, is to sit back and think about, what do we stand for? And, what are those, that we all have different things that's like crossing the line for us, right? Of like, this is something that I will do, and this is something that I will not do. And I've been thinking a lot this past week about the difference between I won't do something, I will not do something, and I cannot do something. And, for me,
Oh, that gives people accountability.
it does, but it's also looking at the difference between, there's things that I can and can't do. Like I can say, for me, you could say, I can wear a mask physically. Yes, I can wear a mask. I could put one on my body, but I will not, right? And there's a difference.
But I
There's
will.
There's a difference between I cannot, in terms of like, maybe I'm missing some ears, or maybe there's a physical restraint that prevents me from being able to do it. There's a difference between ability and willingness.
Willingness.
And I think in a lot of ways, we've really got to pay attention to this will or will not, because in our society, we're going to hear a lot of this, is that the people who will not are going to be selfish and all kinds of nasty names. We're going to see them in the next couple of days. We already have. But I go back to the universal law of free will, which means that we all have free will. So my free will is to choose to wear a mask or not. I can make that choice. I will wear one or I will not wear one. Now, where that becomes an issue is if I go into a public place that now has a law that says I must wear one in that public place. Mm-hmm. So people could say, well, you're violating my free will. Well, technically, no. I mean, there is going to be, I think, some human rights proposals that come forward based on this, but technically your free will is to choose to either stick to your guns of I will not wear a mask and honor the other person or the other business per se, right? Or comply with that legislation. Your free will is not being taken away, but it is being
you're given an option,
narrowed.
but you're not given an option.
Yes. I mean,
yeah.
But we have to look at, right, free will. When we say universal law of free will, that means in the universe. So it doesn't necessarily mean within our legal system. Like, I'm not looking at it from yes, the legal system in terms of what your choices are in 3D, but I'm looking at it from the universal perspective. So I have a choice as a human being on any decision, right? Will I eat meat? Will I not eat meat?
You just have the consequences of that action.
Yeah. Now, where it would become, to me, where I think the line would be drawn from a universal perspective is if somebody held me down and put the mask on your face. And I think that's the concern, is that some people have that, where will the masks lead to next? Is this a stepping stone to vaccines and chips and so forth? That's the concern. You could say it's a conspiracy theory, but I don't think it is. I think it's a valid concern to look at.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't even know very much about it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a big topic out there, and I've fielded a lot of calls about the masks this week. I've cried. I've had people crying. This isn't people who are on the other side, they're not coming from a superficial perspective. They're not choosing not to wear a mask because it's not pretty or it's not aesthetic or, it itches. I think it's a deeper soul trigger for a lot of people. I think it's coming from some past or parallel lives. And I think it also comes in a lot of cases for the light workers will say, it's coming from this desire to free humanity from the constraints of some of the darker energies. It's not the mask specifically that even for me, if I'm speaking for myself, it's not the mask specifically that's the issue. It's the energy behind it. If that makes sense. And that's why 6 months ago, those same individuals would be willing to put on a mask, but now we're seeing some resistance to it. It's because
because it's getting crazy now. Like it's getting like nobody knows what the hell's going on. Like 1 minute it's wearing masks, the next minute it's not. I don't watch the news. Maybe I should, but like I don't because like it gives me pure anxiety, and I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know what's real. So what's real to me is when I go to my local grocery store, and if they want me to wear a mask because they are more comfortable with me wearing a mask and they work there, they have to go there to make money, then fuck, I'll put the mask on. I hate it. I am a survivor of sorts, and lots of sorts. But like the whole over the mouth thing, geez, like that is very traumatic for me. I can't even put a helmet on, like I said. Yeah. So unless it's humongous, so then it defeats the purpose. Just like.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I would suggest too, like for people who are interested in looking into more of the energetics behind it when we're talking about past lives, is to look into some of the images of masks that were required of slaves to be worn. And so masks, I mean, when you look into the cultural and functional history of masks, in a lot of cases, yes, they were used in ceremony and they were used for celebration. We have the decorative masks and so forth. But there's an interesting energy behind mask wearing because in a lot of ways it changes our identity and the energy that we're associating with. And, in some cultures, when you put on a mask, it's believed that you don the spirit of that mask, the energy of that mask per se, right? And I can see how, whether we participate in those active cultural practices now in this given day and age, or perhaps we come from in a past life that culture, because I believe we've all been all cultures in our past lives in a lot of ways. The question becomes, what is the energy or the spirit of that mask, and what does it symbolize as well in terms of freedom?
Did you draw little like beautiful little do unique masks? Like you said, like one that goes over your head, but like, has like different symbols that mean something to you, or to change the energy of that. Because really what I'm thinking about is not even about that. I'm thinking about making others while they're working uncomfortable because I'm not wearing a mask. Because I'm clueless. I never wear a mask because I hate it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I 100% know what you're saying. And I agree with you on that, that if someone is uncomfortable, you're doing it to make them feel more comfortable. But then it becomes, whose comfort has a higher priority? Whose health?
I think theirs, because they're working. They have to go to work, right?
I agree, but I would also offer that there's a lot of employees working in the grocery store who don't want to wear masks and who are probably equally.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Mandate, right? And businesses are going to be required to do it. And so there's going to be businesses that perhaps disagree but don't have a choice in order to stay open.
Well, especially where I was working today, like if you're outside, like it's very, very humid. You're cleaning boats, cleaning cars, whatever. And I'm telling you, you can't wear a mask. You will die.
No. Well, it's not. It doesn't apply to outside. It only applies to indoor public spaces. So you won't need to wear one there.
Good, because
there are exceptions too. So if you do have health concerns or mental health concerns or religious concerns that prevent you from wearing a mask, then you can claim that as your exemption. And I believe according to our Health Information Privacy Acts that businesses are not legally permitted to ask for verification of that.
I don't think they are.
I don't
No,
think so
you're
either.
right.
From back in my corporate days,
They used to back in the day, though.
they used
to
to,
back in the day,
and that's why they put those acts in place. Now, whether those
right?
acts have emergency members or changes around them, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like and that's my only purpose. Like, in all honesty, like, I'm uncomfortable with it, but I've done so much work on myself that I'm not super, super uncomfortable with it anymore. So
that's
I can put the mask on temporarily and still be good. I just cannot be wearing it all day, like fucking willy-nilly all over shopping all over town. And then I will have a panic attack and freak out. So
yeah,
yeah, right? Like, and a lot of people are not there yet. They're not there yet. They've
no, no,
just like, I mean, I got into recovery in 2008. I wouldn't have been there yet. I couldn't even sit without facing a door,
yeah.
right?
You know what? I mean, I've been thinking too about when I used to work in a corporate office. You know, they have all the scent policies now because everybody's allergic to scents. Um, and this became a legitimate debate in one of the offices that I worked in that one person had a scent allergy and another employee had an illness that required them to use a certain topical medication that had a scent to it. So
Oh my God. This already sounds like a recipe for disaster.
well, but they were medically mandated that they had to use the scent. And then this employee medically mandated that they couldn't be exposed to that scent. And so the challenge for the managers at the time is, well, whose medical requirement takes priority? How do you make a decision in that place? Yes, you can talk about separating them and so forth, but I think we're going to hit this same philosophical debate, you could say, with the mask. Of there's going to be people who legitimately feel they cannot wear a mask. And I'm saying cannot, not the will not.
So, but it's up to the business, right? The business can say yes or no.
The business can say yes or no.
And
Either
if
way.
not, they're not going to get fined or anything.
The business, basically the way it's written is that the business has to notify all people that are entering a public building of the mask requirement and encourage them, basically make all efforts, fair efforts, to make sure that they do not enter the facility without a mask. But there are exceptions to that. So that's how it's worded right now.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there. Because they're basically giving it to the businesses to, like, here you go, assholes, piss everyone off. Here you go. Like, that is so bullshit. I'm so glad that I work for myself and myself because, Cara, you don't have to wear a mask. Okay, Cara, I won't wear a mask. I will if I go shopping, but that's the only time I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
but I might change my mind. Who knows? Maybe I'll get triggered again and I'll remember something else. And yeah. You just never know with me.
I mean, for me, the question is like, if you know, there's not enough supporting evidence to show that these, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't clarify what the mask is, just any fabric covering over the mouth and the nose, right? So like, would this count?
That's what I'm saying. I might go in with my wolf mask, but you know, I might get kicked out. They might just think, I don't know.
So then the question becomes though, like, if
it's a mask,
if hand washing and the hand sanitization and social distancing is giving the same results as the masks, why are we making them mandatory? And why are we making them mandatory at the point that the curve is flattening, as opposed to, like, it would have made a lot more sense. And I think they would have got a lot less resistance, to be honest, if they had done it in March. Everyone at that point.
But they didn't know. Nobody knows shit. That's what I'm saying. This illness, maybe they do know, or there's more to it. I don't know. Like, it's just,
I think there's gotta be.
There's gotta be.
Anyway, we're going to leave the mask as it is, because I think it's one of these discussions that a lot of us are going to have to agree to disagree, or we're going to start losing our friends and our family, because this is, I mean, it's one of those
people. Let everybody keep an open mind. We're all just saying what we think is the right thing in this moment. I might change my mind tomorrow. Okay. That shit happens all the time with me. I just change my mind and then boom, done.
And you and I are still gonna love each other, and still
we're gonna love each other, even if I go in with a wolf mask on and you go in with no mask. Yeah, I'll just be your pet wolf.
Well, I won't be going for a while now, probably.
You know what? I know it's upsetting. For some people, this is really upsetting. I mean, the thing is that maybe 12 years ago when I was in my situation, it would have been like that one added fucking thing. I'm claustrophobic and now I have to wear a goddamn mask. Are you trying to kill me? Sobriety is killing me.
And it's funny because you say 10 years ago, I probably would have been the one that's like, put on your mask, mask. Because I was in a different place then. I didn't have kids. I was working for the government. The world has changed significantly for me in that time. And so that's why I can also appreciate, while I disagree, I can appreciate where other people are coming from. And so while I may disagree with them, I don't wish any ill intent on them. No. And I also try to be very careful. I'm sure there's times where, we get in the heat of the moment, but I try to be very careful to not insult anybody for their views.
I do too, but you know what the reality is? You're always going to insult someone. I'm sorry to say. There's so many people out there that don't like me, and I don't give a shit. Because I am who I am. You are who you are. Mm-hmm. We love to talk about crazy shit. Sometimes it's not so crazy. Today was pretty tame. Yeah.
Crazy wise, but it's going to strike a chord with a few people, I'm sure.
I'm sure. From my perspective. Don't you just love pissing people off? Really, it's so much.
No, I don't.
I don't either. I don't. But I do it often. But I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Not my intention.
I mean, earlier this week before this all happened, I reached out to a friend and I was like, I really don't want to talk about this, but my guides say I have no option. Not that I don't have an option, I have free will, but that this is part of something that I really need to look at, especially from the children's perspective, is what I'm hearing.
Well, that's what it is too. The kids are like that. This is crazy what's happening. Even, I'm stumped. With work, with business, with my taxes, I never wanted to do my taxes before. Now I really don't want to do my taxes, but I have them all paid up, but I don't want to do them. It's piling, and it's I purposely am trying to create chaos so that I'm not looking at it. You know what? Do a little bit of yoga, go for a walk with your dogs in 500 degrees weather. Only 2 seconds. I literally had to go out with one of them for just 2 seconds. He was he's looking, he's like, you trying to fucking kill me? He was not happy. Okay. So, no.
So do you want to, let's move to one of our other topics then that we wanted to discuss tonight, and that is the weather. Okay. I have a question for you. When was the last time you remember seeing such clear skies so many days in a row?
I don't know.
There's no clouds. Have you noticed?
Oh my God. Well, there were clouds today.
There was some today, but I cannot remember a time since maybe
I was not as many.
There's not nearly as many, but think of the last 10 years, summer wise, how much dark days we had, how much rain, the weather has not been that great.
Yeah, but there was also the brown grass that people were fucking painting green. Do you remember that? I literally wanted to throw a banana at them. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just painting my grass green. Okay, have fun with that. See, that's going to be another one that's going to piss someone off.
I don't think it will.
The weather is insanely hot.
It's very hot.
My hair does not want to stay. It's half brown. Actually, Kevin said that I'm a ginger. Oh. He goes, official, you are a ginger. Yeah, I have red brownish hair. There you go. Now, who knew? This is the first time I've known in 20 years. I always thought I was just blonde, but no, obviously not. Anyways, this weather is not good for the hair. Like,
No.
no, I've braided it. I've looked like, I was on this, my aunt actually shared a post of me in Jamaica, and I was like, blah, 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 like this, like, and I had my hair braided.
Yeah.
And this lady commented below it. She goes, Aunt Jemima's better looking.
Wow.
I agreed with her. Aunt
Yeah.
Jemima is beautiful, and I really do not suit braids. I look like a little boy with big boobs. But I'll tell you something, those braids are the shit in this weather.
Yes. I
I
mean,
mean, amazing. Do you know how to braid hair?
not well.
I try braiding mine like cornrows, and it looks, well, you've
Oh
seen,
yeah, it does.
it
It's
doesn't work.
no, it doesn't look
But
great.
yeah, what's your take on this hot ass weather?
Well, I don't know the truth. I have a couple theories. Well, one is we have less air pollution, right? We have less planes in the sky. And I mean, I don't know if you ever paid attention to the chemtrails behind the planes. When you
I've
have a
seen them.
plane, there's the straight line. I mean, it used to be nonstop all day. Like just a couple months ago, before all this happened, there was like chemtrail, chemtrail, chemtrail. And I've heard people talk about it, and I've done some research into it. But it wasn't until like I want to say May that part of my practice to get through all this has been to just go sit in the sun and then ground into the earth. Like I literally just lay in the dirt and soak up the sun. And I'm
Yeah,
usually,
I do the same thing. I put my feet on the grass and pretend like I'm connected to the ground.
yeah. And I'm usually someone who doesn't like, I'm not someone who promotes sun tanning, or like I'm usually hiding in the
It's
shade.
very bad for your skin, okay?
So it's not,
for both of us especially, we're pale.
it's not something I would normally do, but
I've been doing it too.
and it's been helping, and I've been advising it to other people as well, because I've felt that the sun has had some kind of potent energy to it. So anyway, when you're lying on the ground looking at the sky, you start to notice things. And I was like, Jesus, like I can't remember the last time I saw a clear day like this. And then the next day, well, it's clear today too. And then the next day is clear today too. And yes, we've had some clouds,
crazy storms.
I mean, you have, because we haven't had any rain in like 10 days.
No, not recently.
Yeah.
But like for me, recently could be like 2 months ago. Like
it's rained around us. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like because my husband goes out to work, like he'll call and say like it's downpouring 10 minutes from us, but it's bright and sunny here. So I don't know what we're doing, Cara, but we're keeping all the heat
because we're so bright and sunny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the sun's trying to kill us because it's pretty friggin' hot. Like it's hot.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? I love it. I cannot stay inside. Like lately, I have not been able to stay inside. I'm going for walks. I'm bike riding on my electric bike, which is the friggin' shit, by the way. I've got to come visit you on it. Yeah. So my electric bike, and then doing my yoga, and then running on the treadmill, because running out here is crazy. Like who the fuck would do that? It's too hot. And then like, I just feel that, keeping myself, like when I get the anxiety, I have to do something. And instead of going to do like the bad things I used to do, I try to like, oh, what could I do? I could do some yoga. I could do some headstands. Doing one headstand just for like, 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. I can do it now, people. Do you know what that means? That means that is friggin' amazing, because Jen, I could not do it for that long. Anyways, it's my way of just like recharging myself, getting that, and then having these conversations with you, whether anybody listens to them or not. Really, if you're listening to it, you're fucking amazing. It's amazing that you listen to this. If you're not, it's too bad. You're missing out. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is so nice. And then if our friends are listening to this, then they get a piece of us, and I want a piece of them. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Like, I just think that, we're doing okay. Despite all the crazy shit and the really mean people, there are some really mean people out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just forgive them and move on, because really nobody has money. Everybody is getting screwed over. I have like 1,000 jobs, it feels like now. Like I'm busier than I've ever been, and I'm making less. Like it's just one thing after another, right? I've got girls that I'm sponsoring that I feel like I can't, like I don't want to neglect them either. Like I want to be present for them as well in the midst of all of this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I cannot expect that I'm going to be able to handle that on my own.
Yeah.
So I tap into the earth,
Yeah.
which is connected to everything else and the planets and the other universes and la la la.
You
Oh
know,
my God. I work on boats and I listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like they think I'm a fucking nerd over there. Really. I don't even know what he's saying, but I'm trying to figure it out, right?
yeah, I
I
mean,
want to like appear. I always want to try to understand, you
yeah,
know?
I do too.
And
I'd love
that's the
to.
thing.
Yeah.
Why can't people just do that? How about we just try to understand each other instead of immediately going on the attack? Oh, you're a drunk driver, so you must be a terrible person. Maybe
Mhm.
that person had shit happen to them when they were younger and they snapped and they fucking drove drunk.
Yeah.
It's not a good enough excuse, but at the end of the day, how would you respond to a situation like they did? Like you don't know. Everybody is an asshole on this planet. Everybody. But we all have goodness and love in us.
Yeah.
And I've seen miracles before my eyes.
Yeah.
And I see it in people that, like, even you, like, you're surviving this right now. This is like not easy.
This sucks.
Your dreams and everything that you've done. And all of a sudden, everybody's got to wear fucking masks that you probably have to pay for. And then fucking everybody's scared to go and like travel stopped. And like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it all is people are dying.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what the hell, right? So despite all of that, we have our cute wee friendship. And then we come up on here and we talk. Or I come house sit with your ghosty house. We'll have another conversation on that later. And then, you know, like I get to spend time with my dogs and be present with them. I would rather be in this pandemic than ever take another drink or drug again in my life. That's the reality.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the worst.
Yeah.
This is so much better. And I
Yeah.
have real loving relationships. And they're not my family necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, my sister, of course, my stepbrothers I don't talk to, but I love. And
Mhm.
like, you know, Kevin's family, there's issues, but we love each other. Like everybody has issues.
Mhm.
And this stress is just adding to it. There are so many people dying, addicts dying right now. I heard like, I don't even know how many died in Aurelia. And
Yeah.
one of the guys used to come to our program all the time. He just stopped going.
Yeah.
And that's not the reason. Whatever floats your boat, people. If you're an addict, get help. That's it. Doesn't have to be AA. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But like for me, that's what worked. And seeing the miracles, that is what is making all of this
Yeah.
like worth it. Who knows? Maybe this pandemic will change things for the planet for the better.
That's what we're fighting
Right?
for. That's what we're fighting for. I mean,
That's what we want. Look how bright it is behind me. That's
oh,
unbelievable. That is not an optical illusion. That is really my field.
you know, back to the weather related, miracle wise, I'm going to pull you right back.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sometimes. You have to bring me
Okay.
back.
You know what? This is what I love about chatting with you and some of the other people in my life. And I think this is why it's important for us to share our conversations too, Cara, is that it's a safe space for us to say what we think without being attacked. You know, like I'm not going to start calling you names because you believe something that's different than me. And I know that you're not going to start calling me names because you disagree with me. And
No.
that allows us to have these really open conversations and be heard. And whenever we see people, you know, protesting, and this comes back from my early life. See, now I'm going off on the tangent, but
We're women.
yeah, I used to work in the corporate environments that I worked in, you know, even in the scenario with the two health priorities that I talked about earlier. My number one advice always to managers and leaders is that when there is a disagreement, when there is a fight and a resistance, people just want to be heard.
Yep.
Sometimes that's all they need. They don't need, sometimes they're okay if you stick with the decision that you originally made as long as they feel heard. And in order to feel heard, we need to be able to safely express ourselves without being shut down and to be able to properly explain and And when I say debate, I mean, you know, a healthy debate and conversation around where we're each coming from. And I don't think we're seeing enough of that right now. I'd love to see more safe
As
spaces.
people evolve, I
Yeah.
believe that like some people are unevolved. That might sound harsh, but that's okay. I was unevolved too,
Mhm.
you know? And the truth is that if you're not open-minded, you're probably not educated.
No, I'm not gonna agree with you on that one. I think
I think
open-mindedness and
that
education are
if you're
separate.
not keeping yourself open-minded, how can you possibly learn anything?
Well, I will agree that if you are open-minded, you may have learned a lot, but for me, education it can be something that is uh, forced on you and you don't question it. For example, okay, this was a conversation I was having legitimately had this week about the weather. We're trying to get back to the weather.
Weather.
Okay, so when I was a kid, science said that when it's hot out, you know, the water on the land, it evaporates into the air and it forms a cloud. And when that cloud is full, simple terms, I am not a scientist, it rains,
Yes.
right? So I was saying to my husband this week, I was like, we haven't had any rain in like 10 days and it's been so hot. I'm like, is the water not evaporating? And if it is evaporating, how come it's not coming back down? I'm like, I guess you could argue that it's going into clouds and the clouds are moving. So maybe it's not coming down directly on top of us. But with all of this heat, wouldn't we have a lot of evaporation that would thus lead to rain? And then what about those places in the world that suffer from severe drought and long-term drought? Usually they're really hot. I mean, maybe a scientist will explain this to me, but this is, you know, a
Yeah.
question that I have. And but my education says this is the way it works. But my lived experience is saying, well, hold on a second. I understand that from what I learned from the science perspective, but I'm not seeing it right now. So does that mean that I misunderstood the science? Maybe I'm missing a part of it? Or does it mean that maybe there's something that we're all missing with this?
It
Oh,
could be that we're all missing because I'm definitely not a scientist. So I'm like the wrong person. Like, I just think that, like, fairies kind of collect it all and then they go, whoosh, and then they let it come down again. And it's kind of like, whoosh, and then comes down again.
I
I
love
like
that.
to use my imagination instead of logic.
Yeah.
So, logic is well, not boring. I like logic too. I like kind of both because that's what I like to do is to keep an open mind because you
Yeah.
just never know. You might be wrong,
Yeah. I mean, for me, I guess the point on
right?
the education for me is that, you know, having worked on a doctorate in education, and part of that research was looking at what is the purpose of education, right? Like we have an education system, but it all comes down to what is the intention and purpose behind it. And so there's models or systems of education where the intention is to allow the individual to grow into their natural skill sets and to become the
Yeah.
soul that they're supposed to be. And then there's an education system that's designed to create, you know, citizens who follow laws and get jobs. And so, you know, and I was an educator for a long time as an adult educator in a lot of corporate and government environments. And I ultimately had to leave because my soul was dying, because I could see how, you know, education wasn't the first option. It was more about forcing people into a belief system in order to make these systems run more efficiently. And, you know, in the research that I was doing, I studied a lot about burnout and stress and
Oh,
emission. You
been there,
know,
been there.
yeah. And one of the interesting things, and I wish I could find the article on this, or I know it was a book, but he had said, you know, education can be an act of violence, and not physical violence, but, you know, psychological violence,
Yeah.
when it forces an individual to inorganically change their belief system, you know, and it kind of goes back to that free will debate that we had earlier. And that's always stuck with me in that, you know, a lot of a lot of the different things I had to train over the years, like some of it was just policies and paperwork and stuff like that. Some of it was the Health Information Privacy Act, for example. And some of it was actually addiction training. But some of it, a lot of it was the culture of a company. And so what you're doing is you're actually training, educating people on what their values are as a human being. And so that, ultimately became a conflict for me, because I was like, shouldn't the individual be able to decide what their values are and how that
Yes.
fits into an organization? And then, who am I to, follow these, directives, we'll say. I wouldn't say they were orders, but who am I to suggest that they should change those values in order to be employed, in order to earn a living with this particular organization? I didn't put up a huge fuss about it at the time, but it was a question that was always in the back of my mind. And it's something that I think about quite a bit, to be honest, not just as a business owner, but just as a human being, and what I was involved in then, and what the karma of that is.
You didn't know any better, though. You really didn't.
Here's the thing.
You didn't know any better. Like, I've been in sales my entire life, and I was trained a certain way and then retrained and then trained and then retrained. Now, how I sell is like, oh my God, like I fucking tell the truth. Yeah. I just tell the truth. You know what? And sometimes that doesn't work out for what, maybe some other people might want from me. But the real truth of the matter is, I want my, whatever I'm doing to be honest and to be true to myself and to what I feel. And if it's not, I'm not fucking doing it.
Yes. I 100% agree. Today,
I just want to have it where, like, you know what? Yeah, if you're a customer and you're pissed off at me, tell me. I want to know so I know what to fix. Don't tell me that I'm a shitty agent or that I'm a this or that because of COVID-19. Tell me specifically what it is that I need to change so that I can change it. Right? That's all. That's part of having, like, conversations with people that are, they know how to have, they have emotional maturity. Where you can just, like, you know what, you have a feeling, it pisses you off. Oh my God, fucking Jen, just pissed me off. Okay, wait a minute. It's okay. It's all good. Her decision. It's not a attack against me. La, la, la. That's the way it should always be. But human beings react with our feelings, which are like chemicals produced in our brain. That's all that fucking is.
The amygdala hijack.
Yeah, just don't react yet. I used to react like this. Right? And still sometimes I do, but
me too.
But being in the job that I'm in and like being outside cleaning boats, cars, I love cleaning. I fucking love it. Hint, 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 if you ever want me to clean.
Because I don't like it. I'm done with it.
Well, right now I need to make money because I have to make money because I'm not with my travel business. I will with my travel business. It might be fine, it might not be, but regardless, my customers are going to be taken care of, and that's all that I'm worried about. But we all have to make money. Do whatever it is that's necessary. Go to the Sally Ann or fuck. I had to go and get food from the food bank back in the day. We had no running water, holes in the walls because of the neighbors. I don't know. But anyways, it's, like, and that's not the way we live now. So, I mean, I just think that it's your situation. If you stay in it and you're not changing it, is your choice.
That's
if you're staying in it and not changing it, then nothing is going to change. And that is now a choice. And I even will call out addicts. Fucking right it is. It's a choice. I thought that I had no choice until finally I had no choice. I had no choice. I had to stop or else I was going to die. Right? So that's the thing, like everybody.
There's always a choice. There's always a choice.
Always.
Yeah.
You don't have to live in that place. Who gives a shit about where we're at now? And you have like that horrible husband, or you have like that abusive ex, or you were a victim of child abuse, or you fucking, I don't know, you stole your mom's wallet or whatever. You know what? Fucking fix it. Stop. Fix it. That's all you need to do. Stop it and do the work
Mm-hmm.
that you and I have done and that other people have done.
And
Because
I
the
would,
truth is, it's shitty. We cry. We want to drink. Well, I don't anymore at all, actually. Um, we want to, but like, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to do that in my business because I don't feel comfortable there.
mm-hmm.
Okay. It's really simple to just let it go. Like you said earlier, drop it. Just
Yeah.
fucking drop it. You know what? This does not serve me. Bye.
Well, and I think, you know, you and I, we've probably seen over the course of the past few months, and I've seen this with my friends too, and some people have questioned me on it, like, why are you really passionate about this particular issue that's come up and this one you don't seem to care about? And it's like, well, it's not that I don't care about it, but this is one that I'm activated on.
Oh my God,
And
there's so many issues. We
because
can't
it's
do
something
all of them.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that one's your mission, this one's my mission, right? And that's cool. We got different missions, which
Mine
we
is crazy women like me. That are like my sisters that I can understand. And there's men that I've seen that have gotten sober and who are like totally different people.
Mhm.
Totally different people. And you know what? It's because we're not bad people. Like you said, everybody's got goodness in them. It's just that you gotta give yourself a chance. Like I gave myself a chance. I finally said, oh fuck. I shouldn't do that because like I am really getting in trouble with the law, other things. And you know what? I had to make a choice. I made it. It wasn't easy. But you know what? I would not regret it. Like I don't regret it now.
Mhm.
Thank God.
And
Right? I wish that for everybody. No one has to live on the street. No one has to live with an abusive husband.
mhm.
No one has to have like, you know, absolutely nothing. That's
Mhm.
bullshit. That's unacceptable.
Mhm.
Because if we are like, you know, God's children or the universe or whatever you want to call it, okay, Jesus, Buddha, if we are, then why the fuck would we deserve to be like it doesn't make sense. Why would
Yeah,
we deserve to be an addict? Why?
yeah,
I'm an addict in recovery because I need to help other people like me. And
mhm,
that's it. That's not my job. That's just what my soul chose to do when it
yeah,
came here.
yeah.
That's it. Your soul is to like help people like me find a purpose to look, oh, I'm like to, you know, get me really involved in yoga and to find out my potential and to believe in me. And it is my way of keeping myself calm in
Mhm,
situations where I never would have been able to do it. It's
mhm,
part of what I use now. And
mhm,
that was the gift you gave me.
mhm.
Not just yoga, other things too, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
So
I know what you're saying. You know, it's
that's
funny when
it.
I had some of my first, like, I would say, psychic awakenings as an adult. What was interesting is I would look at people and I would see their future, but it wasn't that I like saw their whole future. I just saw what their mission was. I'd look at them and I would get shown a picture of
Mhm.
somebody's mission. And it's been really fascinating the last couple of weeks. Some of the people that I've been meeting with who are like, I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know why I'm here. And I'm like, me too. And then and
I
then I talk to
know,
them
sisters.
and I'm like in awe of what their soul has committed to do here. And I'm so inspired by the image and what it is that that particular person is supposed to bring to the planet and how they do it. And some people are meant to build these amazing businesses and some people aren't. Their purpose is literally their being, and it's still equally as beautiful and equally as successful when we step back and look at it from the universal perspective, when we step out of this chain constraint society.
Oh,
And there's something so important right now, I think, for all of us to see the potential in each other and to have the patience for us to work out the awkwardness of
oh,
stepping
there's
into the
so much
potential,
awkwardness.
because we're going to
So
make
much awkwardness.
mistakes. We're like, just like we try to learn how to walk, trying to step into your power and your mission after you have been inundated with all of these things that have been holding you back from that, for lack of better terms, your entire life. You're going to fall, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to get angry. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you're wrong. That just means you're learning.
That's it.
like
That's
everybody else.
it. And that's it, right? Like you
Else.
you said it perfectly. It's just a matter of, you know what, just like I believe just living your authentic self, just being who you are. All of a sudden you won't need drugs and alcohol. You won't need you all you need is honestly is what is your breath. It sounds so weird. I'm going to use, but that's what I'm getting is your breath, is your living breath. I mean, your
Yeah.
body still breathes when you're sleeping. I think you told me that. I mean, I fucking figured it, or I might not be alive, right? But
But the
like,
breath is so important right
but
now.
that's all. That's it. Just your breath, and that's it. And if you can breathe, you can do it.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from yoga. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. You can also go get your license. You can also get free from drugs and alcohol. You can, if you can breathe, you can do all those things. Just talk
Yeah.
to the right people and ask them how they did it.
Yeah.
That's another key thing.
Yeah. Well, and you can use your breath in strategic ways to help you release the energy that's been keeping you in those patterns, right?
Yep.
Because, addiction and fear and all of those emotions are held in the body as a pattern. It's an energetic pattern
Oh,
that's held, in the field and in the body. And so if you know how to use the breath in the right way, you can start to use it to change that pattern. So
totally
you're
the
less likely to
healthiest
fall
person,
in.
like the healthiest I've ever been is now, ever in my
Me
life.
too.
I
I
am,
was thinking that
you
today.
know what? Like I glow. Like I'm sound vain saying this, but fucking seriously, I glow. I glow and I glow. And it's from water, not enough of it. It's from
Right?
caffeine and a lot of fruit and vegetables and fucking meat. Now I've been eating meat. And you know what? I like just even being able to clean boats or jump up and down or do headstands or do anything at 40
Mm-hmm.
is incredible because I should be dead. The alcoholic in me could have killed me. Really, it could have. Or my
Yes.
heart could have died from a broken heart. Like the
Mm-hmm.
people that were supposed to protect me failed. They
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
So I really was kind of left in limbo. But for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, I have been able to have the honor and the privilege to meet people just like me. And they have also survived and also made it through. So yeah, I mean, that's why this is so important that we do conversations like this so that anybody that thinks they can't, well, you know what? I have a
Mm-hmm.
big, yes, you fucking can,
Yeah.
coming right at you.
Yeah. And both of us are willing to walk alongside
Yeah,
you as you go through the process and hug you or not hug you,
exactly.
smile at you or not smile at
I
you.
love hugging and I'm dying. Like I am like I'm a do you hear the squirrel? What? It's gonna
He's
come
saying that
attack
he's
me
like,
in a
it's
minute.
against the rules, Cara. It's against the
Do you
rules.
know what happened too? Is I was sitting over by the fire over there, and I was with Shell. Shell won't care that I brought her name up, and we're sitting there, and a fucking bird flew at us, right at my face. I
Mm-hmm.
listen. I love birds, but not at my face. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell happened. I was like, nature hates me today. I don't know what's going on.
It doesn't hate you. It's just trying to send you a
I think there was
message.
a little nest somewhere.
Maybe. I shared with somebody online today. I've had since March, every day there's been a hawk that comes and circles over me 1 to 3 times each day and then takes off. And the other day I was having a bit of a rough day and I was just laying looking up at the sky and I was like, I wonder if I can invite the hawk to come because there was no birds in the sky. And I was like,
They'll
just
shit
started
on you.
just started talking to the hawk and it came in and swirled around me. But I've talked to it a few times and the message has always been, think about what it's like to fly in the sky. And we kind of know from flying an airplane somewhat, although
I
it's not
fly in
as
my
beautiful.
dreams.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
do. A lot of people
And I'm
bring that up.
self-aware in my dreams too.
Yeah.
So anybody that tries to talk to me in my dreams, I'm gonna know.
Okay, I'm gonna call you on that
I'm
tonight.
I'm gonna know.
The hawk was saying, you want, rise above the turbulence. The turbulence is going to be there, but you're going to rise above it. But you're not rising above it to get away from everything. you're rising above it and you're using the turbulence to fuel your flight. It's pushing
That's right, it's pushing you.
It's part of what is helping, you know. But so
I
often we
really
see
want to
it.
physically fly. Like I want to fly like in my physical body. Like it's
Me
bullshit.
too.
Like like this planet, I know that like as soon as I go into my dream state, I'm flying. And I've been able to do it
Yeah.
since I was a kid.
Yeah. So
I love dreams.
I want to finish on, when you think about the world that you want to live in, what does it look like? If you were to like wave your magic wand today, what would it look like?
I feel like, you know, like whenever you're on like a pageant, a beauty pageant, except I'm 5'2" and like I lift weights, so I'm a little thick for one of those girls. But I really, really, really was going to say world peace, but I'm not going to say that. But I do want world peace. So I'm saying it. I would picture a world where everybody was their authentic selves, where they would just be themselves and do the things in their life that they're supposed to do. That, you know, basically what we're supposed to do when we get here, like what our higher power or God or whatever it is, that's what I would think would make the world a great place. Because if everybody was authentic and doing what their higher self wants of them, then it would just connect, and then the whole world would be that way. And then maybe the universe would be that way. And then maybe the universe would be that way.
Exactly.
So I just think that everybody needs to kind of like take responsibility for themselves and like own up to their bullshit and be open-minded enough to hear somebody else's opinion without criticizing, just listening first and then criticizing your head and then fucking like, you know, what do we all do? We're fucking bullshit, but okay. But you know what I mean? Be fair. So yeah, I wish the world, like, I literally wish the world had no pollution too. No pollution, that the oceans were cleaned up, no plastic, that all the animals on the planet were safe, and we were all connected to them as well. Like we could understand them. That would be fucking cool. We could even go there. I can write a book. But I would want that. I would want to be able to talk to the animals. I think I can sort of, but not. I want to like literally like Dr. Doolittle. Yeah. Hey, Toby, go pick up your own shit. Yeah, I think that you know, having clean water and, you know, eating food and being very, very careful about how you treat the animals that you eat and the vegetables and the trees and everything else that you're eating from. I think that if we could just consciously, every single one of us do it. I honestly can tell you, I've seen some crazy motherfuckers turn into amazing people. And I know it's possible. I know it's possible. It doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic, if you're an addict, or if you're just like, if you love friggin' chocolate bars. I eat one a day. That's why I am slightly chubby and I work out so much. Really. I love chocolate. So anyways, the point is that, you know what, being in balance, but doing what your soul is meant for you to do. Because if you did that, then you're doing what God wants you to do. The squirrel's like, you're full of shit, Cara. That's not the reality. But yeah, I have a very big vision.
If I had done that, I wouldn't be a squirrel in this lifetime.
You know, and then everything would look like this, like just like, you know, like a painting, right?
Yeah.
I'm very grateful because I live in a beautiful place and I have beautiful friends. And I'm not talking like looks, like who gives a fuck, even though we are pretty cute. But you know, that doesn't matter. It's all about like, don't let my selfies fool you. I'm vain, but not like, fuck. I know what I am and what I'm not. But this to me is beauty, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Breathing the air, drinking the water right from the.
Yes.
That is like, oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
To be connected to the planet and to human beings again. That, you know what, I could just like, oh, another part of Earth that I would see is I would be able to, like, you would be able to teleport because I don't drive, right? So I would just like, I'm coming over.
I've been saying that since I was 6 years old. How come it hasn't happened yet?
They got to get on this. It's 2020, man. Get the COVID virus fucking shit done first and then do this.
Well, full disclosure, I have done that to people before, but that's for another call.
That's another call. That's another call because everybody is like, holy fuck, these girls talk.
Hey, they have free will to turn this off. Full free will. They don't have to listen.
They don't.
We're not forcing anybody.
No.
I think that's beautiful, Cara. I would join you in that world.
Wouldn't it be so much fun? And everybody would be naked and nobody would be weird about it.
Oh, come on. You had to.
I know, I'm such a nudist. Remember we tried I tried to convince Jenn to do naked yoga. She said, fuck no.
No.
That's okay. Agree to disagree.
Have you ever been in a naked yoga class?
Hell no, but I would do it.
You might change your mind afterwards.
It's true. Maybe naked yoga on my own.
Maybe. I mean, the
dogs might get a little frightened.
You use your free will however
I want. And that's the cool part is we do have the free will. Even though our addiction or the person that we're addicted to or whatever it is, our jobs, our imaginary fucking belief that something's going to be the way that we want it to be, when really that's not the way it is. It's going to happen the way it's supposed to be based on what our higher self wants, not necessarily our personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I have split personalities. That's funny.
Wow.
That's another conversation.
I don't think you're the only one on that one.
No.
I think for me, the earth that I focus on is similar in that I see everybody doing the work that their soul has come here to do.
Yeah.
I see a society where there's actually no need for money, because if we're each doing what we're supposed to be doing, I believe there will be people who are farmers and people who do all these things. Now, the world might be different because we might.
I just want to be a housewife. I just want to be a fucking housewife that cleans houses and maybe cleans vehicles if they exist in the new world. Any thinking jobs.
I mean, I just want to teach, and
I'm done.
I don't want to clean anymore. I don't mind cleaning, but the one conversation I had with my girls, actually, funny story, we were talking about our vision for the new world as I was cleaning up human poop off the floor. And
human poop?
Yeah.
I swear that was not me, I promise.
It wasn't. I don't know who it was, but I know it wasn't you. Anyway, they were asking like, well, why would somebody do that? And why do you have to clean it up? And so we had a really good discussion around, responsibility and why money comes in. And I was talking about how wouldn't the world be wonderful if we all took responsibility for ourselves, if we all took responsibility for the messes that we made and we cleaned them up ourselves. If everybody cleaned up the mess that they created, there would be no need for someone else to come in and do that cleaning. But because some people aren't willing to do, and willing might not be the actual option. In some cases,
they
maybe
took the shit on the floor. Like, that's not okay.
Oh no, it's not.
It's not okay.
Okay. It's not okay before COVID. It's certainly not okay now. There's not enough gloves to handle that.
I don't know if I'm coming to help you clean now.
And I've already done that twice. I've been open 2 weeks and I've done that twice. So
can you put on your disclosure, no shit on the floor, please?
Well,
or you have to pick it up yourself. Here's a little doggy bag.
There is a sign that requests people not to do that business in that bathroom now. But we were talking about how, with my daughters, about how, there's times where we perhaps make a choice or we're unwilling or maybe we're unable to actually do our responsibilities. So say, for example, we go and visit somebody and we don't clean up the bed, we don't do the laundry. That's when the money comes into play, because we give people money to ask them to do our responsibility, in a sense.
It's
And
true.
I said, so wouldn't it be interesting if we all just took accountability and responsibility for things? It would make me wonder whether we would, need this money exchange. And that's very utopian. And I'm not suggesting that we're going to get from where we are today to no money tomorrow by any means.
I would love
but if
it.
if I'm truly visioning, if I'm being honest with what my soul wants,
I want no money too.
But I mean, honestly, I would be happy, more than happy, to work for free if I knew that my needs would be met, that I knew that I'd be able to live in my home, and I'd be able to have enough food, and I'd be able to, either exchange with people. But I think exchange is still too much like the money system, in that, I really love to teach, and I really love to support people who are working with, energies from the other world, or figuring out their mission. And so I'll do that. And then there's somebody else who's like, I really love growing tomatoes, and I got lots of extra tomatoes, so I give people tomatoes. And it doesn't mean that I have to trade, the work that I do for a tomato. It means I just do the work I do out in the world. And then he creates tomatoes and gives tomatoes out in the world.
We have to think about this and try to make it happen, with our minds. And we show that two people watch.
I mean, I think
we gotta try.
I legitimately think there's going to be the ability to create little microcosms of this new earth. I truly think that's what's going to happen. And we're going to create it in our little spaces. It may not be everything that we want, but just like doing the work to get out of wherever we feel we're stuck, we got to put one foot forward, right? We can look at these restrictions, for example, that are coming down now, and we can make a choice to just surrender and comply. That's one option. We can make a choice to just surrender and not comply and go into hiding. That's another option. Or we can look at it and we can examine it. I know I'm up for the high. I
would live in a tent in a mountain if it was warm all the time and there were not a lot of bugs. I would do it. I fucking would. I don't care about all this shit. I really don't. I really honestly, if I could hunt and fish, I would do it too, but I can't do that. I would need Kevin to do that.
Yeah. I have to make a conscious effort to stay present and stay on the earth. I truly have to, I have to sit and consciously do that. And really sit and think about, this is what my soul is feeling. And my gut reaction is I want to run away, but is that serving my highest interest? Is it serving my kids' highest interest?
Exactly.
Is it serving anybody? Is it serving anybody? If it's not serving me, it's not serving them, it's not serving anyone in my community for me to go into the hiding. Is that the option I should be choosing? Maybe not.
And that's the thing. You have to look at all of the angles and all of the, you have to write it out. I hate to say it, but I mean, that's what I had to do, is write it out just to see exactly what it is that I do and do not want.
Yeah.
It's the only way to go, because with my brain, I could go with 5 million different things, right? What do I want? What don't I want in my life?
And I think I would like to perhaps end this evening, because we've been talking for a long time, but we can do this for days.
Yeah. We have. I'm being eaten alive right now.
I bet. I'd like to put the challenge out there to everybody, is there's so many different things that we can talk about right now, and we can get into the politics and everything else. But I want to challenge everybody in the next week, when you find yourself in these social situations, whether in person or online, doesn't matter, is to pose this question. What would you envision the ideal world to look like? Throw it out there to people. Let's start to dream. Even if we don't believe it's possible, we got to start planting that energetic seed, and we need a mass amount of people to start visualizing it, so that those ideas can start to be manifest here in the now. And it's way more positive to share together. You know, we can argue mask or no mask all we want, but if we suddenly say, what do we envision for the health and wellness and the interaction of our family and our friends and our community, chances are we're probably going to largely agree on that element. You know?
Oh no, I agree too. I think that's yeah, I agree.
So
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yes.
I'm
I think it would be super cool if people take up that challenge this week to share, you know, share it online, whether it's on your feed or it's our feed. Like, I would love some private messages of people who actually, you know, it's going to take a little bit of courage to bring that up in a conversation, but not that much.
No, like, look at us, we're doing it.
Yeah, and share
really,
and share.
like people just need to like chill and have more fun. Keep an open mind. Use your imagination. Right?
We got this. I'm pretty certain that this is our chance to free humanity from everything that's happened in the past.
I just Charlie horsed myself.
Even your body is spasming.
Oh my God. I straightened it out just in time before it got worse. Oh my God. I'm pretty red, eh?
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
I don't know how I did this, but I just got my Burke stuck on the table. Like, I am a train wreck right now.
I think the universe is saying, good night, Cara. Good night, Cara.
Yes. Well, I love you so much. I'll come and visit you soon.
Yeah.
On my little bicycle.
I can't wait
to
see.
I'm not teleporting there yet.
Well, let's make that our next experiment. Maybe next week I
can teleport over there.
Teleport, and we'll
stand up on top of that hay bale.
I'm serious though, it does work.
Okay, well, I'm gonna trust you. Okay, love you. Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.